It out, I was going to go ad lib, but I thought, if I get a little emotional, things are not going to flow very well. So I thought I'm better to read it. So I think you all know who I am, but my name's Alan Gaddis. I'm the father of the bride. So I'm fairly confident that no one came here to hear me speak. So I will keep it as brief as possible, but still meet the guidelines of what a father's supposed to say. I think first we need to not forget the ones that were unable to make it here tonight, whether they're back in America or looking down from heaven. Either way, I'm sure they're proud and would truly enjoy this spectacular event. That's why I wrote it. If finding your mate and getting married was a race, this one would definitely be a marathon. But the important thing is Matt and Tasha made it to the finish line. And I'm just happy they did it before I was in a wheelchair. Okay. The other day while I was packing for the trip, I had a moment of pause. With a tear in my eye, the finality of this all hit home. I reflected on my past with Tasha and realized that soon my baby girl would no longer be exclusively mine. Then I went to the dresser to pack a handkerchief. I didn't have a handkerchief, so I had to take a white dishcloth. So Gwen, if you get home and you're missing a dishcloth, I have no idea what happened to it. But it's a bittersweet moment. Matt, take care of our girl and treat her like the treasure she is. I'd like to thank Joan Scott for raising such a wonderful man that any parent would be proud to welcome to their family. Matt, like I've always been told, you'll forever be my favorite son-in-law. We're halfway through. With that said, I hope your marriage will only be filled with great happiness and joy. But I know that's an unrealistic expectation. For that reason, I will pray that you and Matt will always have the strength, perseverance, and determination to keep moving forward when those tougher times appear. I know I've told you this before, but you have found a great man, and he in turn, a wonderful and beautiful woman. Gwen and I look forward with anticipation to see how your new future unfolds. I'd like to thank our friends and family for making the long journey over here. I strongly suggest that you eat and drink as much as possible. Because while you may think it's free, I guarantee you, in a few weeks when those hotel, airfare, and credit card bills start showing up, you would have wished you would have drank a whole lot more. With that in mind, let's raise a glass to Matt and Natasha. In the language of our host country, La Familia e Tutto, which is an old Italian saying that simply means family is everything. Salute. Thank you.
Lake Como, where dreams are made and credit cards go to die. Rest in peace, Cece. Cece was the name of the credit card my sister had that was conveniently not paid for by her. It's also great to see my parents here. There was a little doubt that they wouldn't make it. But once they found out there was a gelato cart and a free pizza truck, they booked their flights. It's so great to be here with family. In this case, I do mean family, because in some way, shape, or form, everyone is family to Matt and Tasha. I think there's something so extra special about a small wedding, not to mention this happens to be the ex-Queen of Italy's villa. It's a nice touch. Today and this weekend is truly a beautiful time together. I cannot put into words how happy I am for Matt and Natasha. It is truly something special.
I use bigger font.
Yeah. Natasha has been my best friend since day one, and at many times my only friend. And now Matt is the brother that I never had. I'm so happy to be sharing this moment with you both. I love you both so much and couldn't be happier for you. We are so happy for you. Cheers to the bride and the groom, Matt and Natasha Tipples. I love you.
It feels like an understatement to say thank you, everyone, for being here tonight when here is a couple miles away from home. And I know that it's very meaningful to Matt and Natasha that you're here and made the trip to be a part of their day. Matt and Tasha, I'm incredibly thankful that I'm already married, and I have very few friends getting married after this because no. I don't personally feel qualified to be part of this bridal party, quite honestly. My name is Caitlin, and I'm Natasha's little sister. Before you try to guess if this secret love child is Gwen or Al's, just know that this sisterhood is just a result of how Tasha makes me feel. But we are biologically related. Thank God. Josh is not my brother, though. I'm actually Tasha's younger cousin by 5 years, even though she will remind me that she looks 10 years younger. It's very ironic to me that on Tasha's big wedding day, she actually gave me the microphone and I don't think any time limit to chat. Because growing up, she hated me because all I did was steal the spotlight from her. So thank you for the spotlight. I consistently stole attention from her through my musical performances and my dazzling personality, Grandma will attest to. But here's the thing, like a dog that harasses the one person that hates dogs, I wanted nothing more than Tasha's love and her approval. I think Matt can possibly relate to that. As we grew up, Tasha was the older perfect cousin. She was the girl that I wanted to be. She was beautiful, she was accomplished, she was a freaking Abercrombie employee, model or something. She was fashionable, she still is, and she's just goddamn beautiful. I cried a lot today because of that. Because we lived hours apart, family holidays were usually my only opportunity to try to impress Tasha. So she may not realize this, but I tried very hard to keep up with you. I meticulously planned my outfits. I was stressed, like more stressed than today. I thought about how I would entertain you, and if we had alone time, what would we talk about? But you didn't like that. On one family vacation, very notably, Tasha used a game of hide and seek to row herself to the middle of a freaking lake and hide for actual hours. What I thought was a cool attempt by me to send her my Flat Stanley, for those of you who know what Flat Stanley is, in the 4th grade, Tasha never returned it. She lost it, and I got in trouble. Sometimes she did nice things, but there was always another motive or backlash later. She cut my bangs on Thanksgiving. My mom has not forgiven me still. She always gave me clothes out of her closet. I thought she was just being kind, but it turns out Uncle Al was sick of reinforcing her closet wall. So she needed to get rid of those. But I have to give her a lot of credit. Even if you asked her right now, Tasha would have no problem admitting that she hated me until like 10 years ago, I don't know. That's the one thing about her. She's honest. She's really honest. She's a little bit picky. You're goddamn determined, and what you say is going to happen is freaking going to happen. Tasha knows what she wants, whether we're talking about a pair of heels or the man she's going to marry, which is why it might have taken a couple years longer than we thought. Earning her stamp of approval is a true accomplishment, and Matt, if you can't already attest to this, I'll call you in a couple weeks. I'm sure you're wondering how I was asked to be here after 16 years of abuse and a little bit of unreciprocated love. For a short time, Tasha and I lived in Chicago, not together, because Jen and Kelly are saints, and they did that for me. But I didn't type small, sorry. As we attempted to navigate young adulthood together, I think you finally realized I was a little more than a pesky cousin, and I actually wanted to be a little bit like you. Plus, I was really liking those free clothes, honestly. So earlier, I said that whatever Tasha says is going to happen is what's going to happen, and I will give you an example. Tasha already ruined it in her speech today. So here we go. On Wednesday, July 31st, 2019, I woke up to a text from Tasha that was sent at 1:34 a.m. Central Standard Time. It read in all caps, "OMG, I'm in love. Real talk, I'm going to marry him." Matt, I think you know what happened on this day because Tasha reminded you. I was going to put you on the spot here, but whatever, you pass. Being that it's Tasha, I read this text and was like, yeah, she found him. I'll go ahead and book my trip to Como or start saving money for it. And I'll be sure to save this message for their wedding day. So if you want to see these artifacts, come find me on the dance floor. I have it right here. It's a real text. And it was 5 vodka waters. Five. Once Tasha met Matt, the very meticulous, slightly anxious, kind of moody Natasha that I grew up with became much less of all of those things. She's kind of fun, actually. Over the last 4 years, I've watched her effortlessly love Matt. It looked like it was just nothing for you. You cooked his favorite meals. I don't know if you still do that, but you did. You go on incredible trips together, and most importantly, you just kind of chilled out. It was nice. And you were more comfortable and content with life than I've ever seen you. Someone needed to do it. But once Tasha met Matt and I met Matt, I knew there was no one else. This was it. Matt, thank you for being the attention stealer of Tasha's life. And as I have learned on this trip, a little more high maintenance than Tasha, which I'm appreciative of. Thank you for loving my older sister unconditionally and making her the happiest woman in the world. Thank you for taking her on wild adventures, although spoiler alert, marriage will far exceed any adventure you'll ever go on. And thank you for being the person she needs to persevere with during hard times and celebrate with during the best of times. I love both of you and wish you a lifetime of happiness, adventure, and hopefully no games of hide and seek. Let's raise our glasses to the new Mr. and Mrs. Tipples.
So before we even introduce ourselves, we just want to give a huge shout out to both families for welcoming us all here today.
It's definitely no easy task to get a group of people across the world to celebrate love. But since we're all here, it's clear to see we all love you. And looking around, I guess it wasn't too bad to make the trip out here. But really, I think we're not alone in saying that this is one of the most beautiful celebrations we've ever been to. So thank you to Natasha and Matt for allowing us delinquents to be part of your big day and, getting married.
So as opposed to ending the speech with the toast, let's raise our glass and start with one, too. Saying congratulate Natasha and Matt on their big day. Natasha, you look absolutely stunning. Matt, you look nice. We love you both, and we're stoked to be part of your big day.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm Vince.
And I'm Anthony. I wrote pause for huge round of applause here, so make some noise. Let's go. Yeah! And we're lucky enough to say that we've been best friends with Matt for the last 26 years.
You know how they say if you're around people for long enough, you start to look alike? Our whole lives, we've been so close that people have mistaken us for brothers. Since we dress the same, we have similar haircuts, and overall have the same personality. But honestly, that's ridiculous, since Matt is a brunette, and I have much lighter hair than the both of them.
And yeah, I'm obviously short. I'm shorter than him. But in all seriousness, since we grew up in families where our siblings were all sisters, we really were the brothers that we never had. And I know that sounds cheesy, but that's really how we feel.
And as we've mentioned before, we've been friends for over 26 years, which means that we've without a doubt gone through it all together.
The ups, the downs, the bad haircuts, more to come on that. And we've seen it all with each other. And on a personal level, I've only gotten through the toughest times in my life because of the unconditional love that I've received not only from my family, but also from you guys.
Since we've been friends forever, we've had a front row seat of watching Matt go through some of the most defining phases in his life.
Most of you probably know Matt as this well-dressed, dapper guy. But when we look at him, we see someone who has displayed a great amount of growth in his life. Someone who has gone through so many different phases that if you saw a picture of him in high school, you actually might think that was a young Adam Sandler.
Where are we? We're right at the top, right? Yeah. We're right at the top?
Nope. No. Yeah, we're here.
So for those of you that weren't lucky enough to know Matt for as long as we have, we've compiled our greatest hits to keep you up to date on exactly who he is. So here we go.
It's not that bad. Don't worry. It ain't. It ain't though. The first greatest hit is, I'm not sure how many of you know this, but Matt is actually a record-holding wrestler. Yeah, he is. Big tough guy over there. Yeah, he is. I'm pretty sure he wrestled at like 80 pounds-ish as a 14-year-old, so the fastest pin that he got was against a girl.
It's true. He had the plaque on his wall. We actually had the plaque at our old apartment too. Still living.
He wants everyone to know. Don't worry.
Matt was extremely passionate about wrestling for that first year. But once he realized he couldn't wrestle the girls anymore, he faked a sickness to get out of practice for 3 years, mono, and eventually moved on to his next phase of life. This is what we all like to call the emo phase, which a ton of people, not in this room, outside right now, are very guilty of. So
I see him. Yep, the emo phase. Still in it, honestly, if I'm being honest. Matt actually won best hair in high school. He did. Yep, I'm not bitter, though. For having perfectly straightened hair, perfectly sculpted locks, with bangs that hung over his left eye there. It was the Karen cut before the Karen cut. I have it in my notes, actually, not to mention that he won best hair by beating me by 1 vote, because I voted for him, and he voted for himself. So I have it in my notes not to mention that, but I accidentally read it out loud. My bad.
despite our love for sad music, long hair, and really, really tight pants, Matt and I had a career-defining moment when we put together a rap group called the Lipton Boys. We will maybe perform later if we get Natasha's approval. We named ourselves after Lipton Tea because our last name started with T, and we believed that we were very, very iced out.
After 4 years of teen angst in high school, Matt eventually hung up that hair straightener and moved on to the college life, which of course included the both of us, where he introduced us to the club scene.
Now, I was never really the club-going type of guy, but Matt always made sure to include me in his crazy nights with his promoter crew. This speaks to the type of friend Matt is. And in no time, we were side by side, fist bumping on the dance floor, as everyone mistook him from Vinny from the Jersey Shore.
And opposed to Vince over there, who wasn't really into the club scene, I was super into it, to be completely honest. Although the club life didn't really love me, because despite staying tippy at the door, I was either denied entry or had to pay a steep cover charge to enter.
Despite the different phases in life, Matt to his core has remained unchanged. The common threads within these phases of Matt is loyalty. Matt is loyal beyond belief and will always, always have your back. Humor. The guy knows how to make things very lighthearted and will always have you laughing at some point of the conversation you've had with him. And Matt loves hard. He will make sure he puts your needs before his own every single time. The loyalty, the humor, and the love are all things we try to emulate in our lives, and these attributes have led him to his greatest phase, not really phase, long term, hopefully forever, part of his life, with Natasha.
Yes, forever. That's why we're here. Good job. Remember the first time we met Natasha? We were all hanging out at my house, and he told us that a girl he was dating was coming over. We were doing our typical night of drinking lightly, making jokes, and of course eating some Taco Bell, and Natasha fit in seamlessly that first night that we met her. We knew she was really, really special to Matt, and because Matt was a little nervous to bring her over and meet us. I don't know why. We're obviously very kind and not weird at all. But she obviously meant a lot to him the first time that we met her.
As the relationship continued through the years, it was clear to see that they were the same in so many ways. They're both loving, caring, thoughtful people who also enjoy eating dinner at 4 p.m. and making pizza a priority. Natasha's kindness and warmth genuinely brought out the best in Matt, making their connection unbreakable, despite how many times their car gets broken into. No matter how many times Matt eats White Castle in secret, their love for each other remains amazing to see.
Now, if we can raise our glass once again and welcome us and congratulating the new Mr. and Mrs. Tipples. We're so excited for this next chapter in your life, and we really cannot wait to be a part of it.
Money comes and goes, you know that. But the only thing that matters in this world are the people right here, right now, and those that obviously couldn't be with us. Salud.